LFHP Kankavli College, Kankavli. Assistant Teacher Mahadeshwar MP. In the last lecture we have completed 2.1 Song of the Open Road with the title and icebreakers discussion. Today we are going to see introduction of the author. First of all, I will read the whole introduction of author given in the textbook, and then we are going to have the total analysis of this introduction to author. You must have your textbook with you so that it would be very easy for you to get the actual linkage with textbook. Here I am going to start the reading. Walt Whitman, 1819 to 1892. Walt Whitman was an American poet, essayist, and journalist. Whitman is among the most influential poets in the American canon and is often called the father of free verse. He grew up in Huntington in a family with difficult economic status. His major work, Leaves of Grass, was published in July 1855. His O Captain, My Captain, a poem written on the death of Abraham Lincoln, is widely popular. The section 1 of Song of the Open Road from Leaves of Grass is a beautiful blend of self-awareness, free will, and tenderness of heart. It gives us poet's realization that along the journey of life, one may face a test of wisdom which is not tested in any school or university. A road is something everyone uses, whether rich or poor, and it forces all levels of people to associate with one another. The road signifies mobility. One can take the road as a point to start over towards something new. Whitman talks about the people and places. He argues against staying in one place for too long. Although the hospitality may be true. So this is the reading I have done. Up to Walt Whitman to is widely popular. This is the introductory part of the author himself. And then from the section 1 of and end with may be true. This is co-linkage with the actual poem that we are going to study, that is Song of the Open Road. Here we are going for the analysis. Walt Whitman, he is Black American poet, and his span is given here, 1819 to 1892. Was an American poet. Not only that he was essayist, not only that he was a journalist. So he tried all the aspects of literature. Whitman is among the most influential poets in the American canon and is often called the father of free verse. Let me tell you the meaning of canon. Canon, actually there are two meanings of canon, but this particular line is applicable to the second one. This second one. Canon. 1. First meaning, a general law, rule, principle or criterion by which something is judged, and which is applicable here, a collection or list of sacred books accepted as a genuine. So, so obviously the poet Whitman or author Whitman is among the most influential poets in American canon. In the list of so many books or literary creations whose work is awesome, Whitman's. This is again you would get the depth definition of canon. Definition of canon from the Greek canon, measuring rod. That is actual source you are getting for the word canon. That's Greek language. A standard or a criterion. Here its meaning canon, a standard or criterion. Measurement tool or element. Third one, any comprehensive list of books in a field that we are accepting here. The books of the Bible accepting by any Christian church as authentic and inspired. That is another meaning of canon, and which is applicable for this context. The third one, any comprehensive list of books in a field. Here whose book list is connected with Whitman's. I hope that you understand the very first line, including the word canon. The half-complete sentence of the same line or sentence is often called the father of free verse. So free verse is a kind of style which can be used while composing poem. He is called, means Walt Whitman was called the father of free verse. Why? Why was Walt Whitman called the father of free verse? Answer for it, I will read that for you. Whitman was an American poet who was often called the father of free verse because he was known to have little to no form or meter or rhyme. By that mean he was composing his poem without any kind of fixed meter or rhyme. Already you know the concept of rhyme. So in short you can say the verse or the poem which is without rhyme scheme can be called as the poem written in free verse. That would be the simplest meaning of free verse. I am continuing. He began as an original conventional poet, conventional poet. However, he evolved into a much more sophisticated poet of unique style that reflected flowing formlessness. So his style was unique, very specific one. Such a kind of unique means of at kind of only alone. The same type you can't see in anywhere. So he has a unique style, specific style of his style is specific. So you can get that here, that formlessness he was using, and hence he was called the father of free verse. Again, through these all points you can get the specification of this information, that Walt Whitman, the father of free verse. We can have some questions, means in exam they are not going to have such a questions, but you must know that why he was called father of free verse. The very first, how does your poet, means this poet Walt Whitman, relate to the other members of the movement, means the same kind of movement, the people who are using free verse while composing poem? The answer is given over here. Whitman wrote conventional poems after echoing or resounding or having communication with the creation of which poets Bryan and at times Shelley and Keats. So this reflection we can see in his poems. They all challenged ideas of morals and ethics in their time period. So that aspect related Walt Whitman's writing you must know. Another aspect of his writing could be seen like this: robust in youth, yet sickly in age, Whitman lived a long life. So that you could say. He had an incalculable effect on later poets. Incalculable, immeasurable. That means lifelong, everlasting, long lasting. We can't calculate even how much. That much effect he had done on later poets, and he inspired them to what? Experiment in subject matter. Means break the rules. Challenge ideas means break the rules, set norms related composing poetry, have some experiment with the writing and means the subject matter, and then compose your poetry. So that's why he was called the father of free verse. He was away from any kind of fixed form offering to the poem. About his poetic style, we can call, or whether American, British, such a kind of things are also there. Whitman was an American poet. Here, that particular query is solved. American poet who was often called the father of free verse because he was known to have little to no form or meter or rhyme. He began as an original conventional poet. However, he evolved into a much more sophisticated poet of unique style that reflected flowing formlessness. And now we have to know what's meant by free verse. If he is the father of free verse, what is actually the meaning of free verse we must know. And later on we will see he is called as father of free verse. Does it mean he is the originator or creator of that form? So first of all we will see what is meant by free verse. Free verse is an open form of poetry. Already I mentioned what is meant by free verse. In simple term, free verse means what? It is the poem which is without rhyming scheme or fixed meter. Free verse is an open form of poetry, which in its modern form arose through the French vers libre form. So there is one French word for it, vers libre. So either we can call it free verse or vers libre, that is from French language. It does not use consistent meter patterns, rhyme or any musical pattern. It thus tends to follow the rhythm of natural speech. So it is away from rhyming, it is away from meter patterns, or it is away from musical pattern. To have the music in that, just only we have to do, or we have to follow the rhythm of natural speech, how we are talking in that manner. We have to go with the flow or the context or the meaning of the poem. So such a kind of write up or poem structure is called free verse. So who invented free verse? Was it Walt Whitman himself, because we are calling him father of free verse? Does it mean he was the inventor of that or originator? It's not like, see, although the term is loosely applied to the poetry of Walt Whitman and even earlier experiments with irregular meters, it was originally a literal translation of vers libre, the name of Muhammad that originated in France in the 1880s. Free verse became current in English poetics in the early 20th century. So what that mean? Although no doubt we are associating this term free verse with Walt Whitman's name. Such a kind of experiments were already done at France during 1880s. and that movement was called verse libre, and we are getting that English version, free verse. Free verse became current in English poetics where in early 20th century. So that is latter form. So by that we can call that Walt Whitman. Whitman was the father of free verse because excessively he had composed his poetry on same structure based. What is that? Free verse. Here some examples of it, free verse poems. Which are they? A famous example of a free verse poem is Shel Silverstein's poem Put Something In, from A Light in the Attic. This poem is an example of free verse poetry because it does not follow a set rhyme scheme, rhythm, or pattern. I repeat, which is the example mentioned here of free verse? Shel Silverstein's poem is mentioned here, and the title of that poem is Put Something In, and that is from that collection A Light in the Attic. And this poem is called the example of free verse because it does not follow a set rhyme scheme, rhythm, or any pattern. I am sure that canon and later on the concept the father of free verse both are clear to you. Now we are going to next line. It is related is upbringing or location. He grew up in Huntington in a family with difficult economic status. So in Huntington city he had taken birth, but his economical condition was not that much happy. That was obviously difficult. His major work, here you can see Huntington city's photo. His major work, Leaves of Grass, was published in July 1855. So his collection of poems that is called Leaves of Grass, that was amongst his greatest of the collections of poems, and that was published in July 1855. And same poem which are going to study, Song of, that is also one of the poems from same collection, Leaves of Grass. Here it is, the cover page of his book Leaves of Grass. See that the next. His major work, Leaves of Grass, was published in July 1855, that we have seen. His O Captain, My Captain. This is one famous poem written by him, and that was based on what was the theme of that poem? Death of Abraham Lincoln. That is widely popular. So, O Captain, My Captain, that's the cover page, and that was devoted to Abraham Lincoln after his death. He was totally in grief and he had written this poem and dedicated to Abraham Lincoln. So, O Captain, My Captain. By that way we have completed introduction to author. From this para, in second para, we are going to deal with the actual poem's introduction. The very first line of that is the section 1 of Song of the Open Road from Leaves of Grass is a beautiful blend of self-awareness, free will, and tenderness of heart. Here the word section 1. Let me tell you that Song of the Open Road, this poem is divided into 14 sections. Actually, there were 14 sections. This is lengthy poem, but here we are dealing only with section 1 of Song of the Open Road. Actually, it is divided into 14 sections. We are going to only deal with the first section of it. And from which collection you would get that poem? Leaves of Grass. And what the theme of this poem? You will get beautiful blend, combination a self-awareness. We should are aware ourselves. Free will, that should be there. No botheration at all should be there at our heart. And tenderness, gentleness of the heart. So these three combo pack we have got from Song of the Open Road. It gives us poets realization that along the journey of life one will face a test of wisdom which is not tested in any school or university. It's a very important line. Through this poem, poet has got realization, he got the understanding of what that during this journey of life many times we have to face the test of our wisdom, and in any school or university they are not getting such a kind of aspect. So the word is here wisdom. What is meant by that wisdom then? Why life is asking all the time the test of wisdom? In very simple term, if you will say wisdom and knowledge, what's the difference? So the appliance of the knowledge in real life, day to day life, or anywhere in any situation is called wisdom. If your brain is packed with knowledge but you don't know how to apply that in particular situation, can you say that you are a man of wisdom, person of wisdom? You can't. So that's why here I have chosen to offer you the detailed meaning of wisdom. See, wisdom, it is one noun. Wisdom, the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. Not only experience, not only knowledge is important, good judgment should be there, and that quality of being wise. The fact, sagacity, similar word, synonym for that. The fact of being based on sensible or wise thinking. The body of knowledge and experience that develops within a specified society or period. In short, I wanted to give you one family example to you, Akbar, Birbal or Tenali Rama. So here Tenali Rama or Birbal, they were the men of wisdom. They knew that how to use the knowledge in practical life, how to face any kind of tricky or critical situation. So these were the men of wisdom. Being deaf to, and in very simple manner, what the meaning? Wisdom is the ability to skillfully apply knowledge to life. Wisdom is the ability, that ability should be there at us or our personality to skillfully apply knowledge to life. Actual usage of knowledge in our life, that's important. Here you can get the difference between knowledge and wisdom. So you can read that. First difference, knowledge is composed of facts, information and skills. Knowledge is composed of facts, information and skills. Wisdom is composed of knowledge, experience and good judgment. So these are co-linked. If your knowledge is perfect, we can't say you are having wisdom. Wisdom means that whatever knowledge you are collecting, you are actually, you know that how to use that in practical usage. Gives you, first knowledge gives you the ability to identify whether some fact is truth or false. That ability you are getting from knowledge. From wisdom gives you the ability to discern whether some idea is right or wrong. So if you have such a kind of thinking, for example, suppose I taught you an astrologer's day. You study that very well, and on that I ask you any true false sort of question and tricky question or fill in the blanks, and I ask you that these are the multiple options are there and you have to choose one of that. Then suppose your knowledge is correct, you will memorize and you will say. But suppose wisdom is what? You will find out among these four which is the appropriate one, the most probable answer for that. And who will help you out for that? Only wisdom. Third, acquisition of information and facts. And application, here only grasping. And in wisdom point of view, application, actual usage, implementation of that knowledge can be simply acquired through education. Simply by education you can have the knowledge. Cannot be simply acquired through learning. You must yourself, you have to face the life, you must undergo that, you must undergo that particular situation, you must get that experience, then only you are getting. So that is called wisdom. These are the basic differences between knowledge and wisdom. And so in this poem, the main point that he mentioned, that only if he wanted the real wisdom, real knowledge of the life, how to face the life, such ability, we must visit the society, be the good observer of that. Any school or university can't offer that. Now we are going for the next line. A road is something everyone uses, whether rich or poor. I think while explaining the title and all, I have given this line to you. I mentioned that a road is something everyone uses. Anybody can use that, either rich or poor, and it forces all levels of people to associate with one another. So there is no question willing or unwilling you are. There is only the main thing, or one thing is there, that you have to associate with each other anyway or anyhow. The road signifies mobility. Mobility means dynamic speed. You will get dynamism. That's called mobility. Moving ahead, not being static, not stopping there itself. That is called mobility. See here at the depth you are getting the ability to move or be moved freely and easily. The ability to move between different levels in society or employment. The ability to move between different levels in society or employment. That should be there. We should not be static or stable. Suppose we are having some bad experience and we decided that no, I'm not going to participate again. No, that should not be there. This is one of the experiences. May the next day will be of mine. I will be the winner. That road saying no stoppage at once, at halt, how much you like that or you hate that, that's not the problem, that's not the issue. You must have dynamic personality, going ahead, leading ahead. One can take the road as a point to start over towards something new, and what that road is, the particular symbol that here I am, so from that point also I can start for a new. Whitman talks about the people and places. In this poem, thoroughly he talks about different people, places, and he argues about something. What that? He argues against staying in one place for too long. He mentioned that don't be the static person, don't stay at one place for long, although the hospitality may be true. No doubt, hospitality is the core part of our society, of our personality. We must show the hospitality to the next person and we must receive that. Many times, what happen in our life, we are gaining hospitality, good treatment, respect from the next person, and we try to feel that yes, I have got satisfaction, I must linger here, I should stop here. But by that way, you can't lead in your life. So, no doubt any place will offer you hospitality, good treatment, but you should not linger there, stop there. Still, you have to be the observer of remnant life, new places, new people. That is the mentioning in last line of the introductory part. He argues against, Walt Whitman argues against staying in one place for too long, and though what happened, the hospitality may be true, no doubt it is true, but after that also we should not stay at one place. Why I am giving you everything in detail? Because this is very helpful for you in appreciation of the poem. Don't forget that. You have to write the response of appreciation question. So for that I am going in very detailed manner. Introduction of author, introduction of poem, you have to just memorize that by heart. You must know the meaning of it, then only you can easily write, is it? So now I will tell you the meaning of hospitality. Many times whenever I give you a family example, this term is actually related with hoteling industry, tourism industry. In a restaurant they have mentioned that now it is very easy to know that or offering 3 star 4 stars to the hotels, and that is dependent on some services they have given. The first one, ambience in a restaurant, what kind of atmosphere is created over there, whether treatment is polite or they are just neglecting and only offering fast service to the rich one, and just only neglecting the middle, what that based on that ambience is there. And if ambience is very clear, the atmosphere will be very clear, friendly. Not only that, plus service should be there. And service, what that one, speed. Once you order, how much time they are getting, or engaging for the preparation, how much time you are waiting for the actual dish in front of you, that. Or politeness of taking orders, in what manner they are entertaining you, are they good listeners, the particular person who is having your order, that man, whether he is listening you or not, coming rightly towards your place or not, or only engaging with some higher class people. That's next one, delivering mail. So everything that is deal with service, atmosphere plus service. The third part is menu items at a restaurant, actual things that you got from them. Many times what happen, atmosphere is good, service is also good, but on menu items very few dishes you could collect. So by that way you can't be popular among the customers of you. So it is, the word for this is called amenities. What kind of facilities you are providing, means if you have gone through the websites of such a restaurants or hotels for booking, you could get that amenities. They are mentioning that we are offering you breakfast, free breakfast package, and Wi-Fi is free. You would get a sea view. All these are amenities or products offered. So when we are getting everything properly, these three items is equal to hospitality. So that is actually the restaurant industry or tourism industry. But hospitality does mean the sober treatment that you are getting from the next person or that place or by that people. So how much that is good, you should not linger at one place, you should move ahead. So that was the thing mentioned clearly, straightforwardly by Walt Whitman through his poem Song of the Open Road. So by that way we have completed introduction. Exactly, first para I mentioned that this is related author, and second para is related with introduction of poem. So everything in very slow steady manner with the images of the meanings. I have explained everything to you. I hope that I'm not going to reread this, because already I read that and I don't want to waste your time in that. You can read that again if you want, but thoroughly we have gone through the introduction of author. So we are going to see the next part obviously, and that is actual poem. In next lecture we will say actual poem, reading, and then paraphrase. Then if possible I will also include in that poetic devices discussion. I will see how much time will be engaged with that, because as it is very important poem we have to be very clear in that. So I will see whether to divide this poem into two parts, or in only one video I can deal with, or separately I should comment on poetic devices. I will definitely see, but you will get in the next lecture the analysis, the paraphrase, or the discussion on actual poem Song of the Open Road. So up to that moment I should take your leave, students. my advice to you is that stay home, stay safe, and with study you have to enjoy each and every day of yours. So I'm taking your leave. Bye, students.